Hey guys, it's Aneesa Getaneh, the Profitable Proverbs 31 woman, and today I'm going to teach you some principles about credit. I'm going to teach you how to get pretty on paper. So there's different steps to credit, right? There's different levels, but one of the things that I wanted to do is teach you about credit, but also teach you about the principles of makeup, because I want to make it fun. Like, I know credit has been so daunting. It's something that people are so ashamed of. And please just ignore the baby, because this is my life right now. So the very first step in credit, as in makeup, is moisturizer. Moisturizer is just one of those things you have to do and you have to have in order to have a smooth look for your face, right? It's something you should do daily, monthly. This is just a daily maintenance. And so with credit, there's some daily maintenances, like credit monitoring. You want to make sure that you're monitoring your credit and that you know exactly what is going on your report. So that's like the very first step with credit. Second step with credit is primer. Second step with makeup is primer. So that with primer is just like one of those things that smooths out your face, right? You want to make sure before you put any foundation or any other layer of makeup on your face that you put primer. It also helps with having your makeup stay on longer. So with credit, the thing with primer, or with credit, your primer for credit is making sure that your personal information is all correct on your credit report. Some people don't know this, but when you're disputing your credit or you're going to apply for credit and your credit information or your personal information, maybe like your last name or your date of birth, is incorrect, it can automatically deny you of credit. So priming your credit and making sure that your personal information is like one of the top steps to making sure that you're pretty on paper. The third thing that you want to do is foundation. Foundation, you're setting the stage for your credit, right? With foundation, you want to make sure that it matches your face, right? You don't want to have something that's too light and you don't want to have something that's too dark, but you want to be very intentional about making sure that you have foundation that matches your face. So for me right now, I have one of Fenty's foundation, which is so amazing. It's so smooth. It's the Pro Filter. Mine's is a 420. So my skin is typically like an olive, warm. So that skin is like, it's kind of in between being really, really fair and a little bit of brown. But making sure that you have like the best foundation is probably the most important step while going on to the next levels and the next layers in your makeup. So in credit, having a strong foundation is like making sure that you have a clear set credit goal, right? Before you even go into trying to fix your credit, repair it, or restore it, you want to make sure that you write down and get very, very crystal clear about what your credit goals are. Whether that's like buying a house, whether you want to buy a car. I mean, just knowing exactly where you want to go, whether that's even getting business credit. Knowing exactly where you want to go with credit is so important. It creates a strong foundation for being pretty on paper. So the fourth step is concealer. And concealer and makeup is the thing that covers up like your age spots, your dark spots, your blemishes, right? Like if you have a good foundation, but you don't conceal your face, girl, you know it's not going to work out too well. So having a really good concealer is so important. So in credit, you also can conceal, right? There's different ways that you can conceal. And this is when we go into the disputing process. When you dispute negative items, taking negative items off of your credit actually helps you get more qualified for new credit. So you want to make sure that while you're going into getting good credit or you're fixing your credit or being pretty on paper, that you're taking off negative items, because it's very difficult for you to actually qualify for more credit if you have negative items on there. And what do I mean by negative items? I mean like collections, charge-offs. Actually having way too many inquiries can actually affect you getting qualified for credit. So concealing your credit is like one of the most important steps in getting pretty on paper. The other way you can conceal your credit, if you already have an established relationship, say you've maxed out on your credit cards, and say you have a $10,000 limit and you're at $10,000, one really smart strategic thing I tell my clients to do is to do a balance transfer. And what does that mean? What you basically apply for a different credit card, and it'll ask you on the application if you have a balance that you want to transfer. So what you do is you figure out what's 30% or 50% of that credit limit of the card that's maxed out, and you transfer over that amount to the new card. And then usually that card has a 0% interest for a different amount of time, maybe like 12 months or something like that. So what it does is it brings down your credit utilization, and it conceals the fact that you just maxed out on your credit card. So that's a strategy I teach people, right? The other thing about concealing or balance transfers, well, I'll just tell you this, one of the best balance transfer credit cards is Discover. Discover has 0% interest, no annual fees, and they don't charge you for balance transfers. I could teach you more about concealing your credit, but I'll just tell you this is one of the most important steps if you've either maxed out on your credit card or you have negative items on there. The next step is eyebrows. Eyebrows is like that one thing that kind of frames your face, right? And we all know, you guys, having thin eyebrows doesn't look too well on our face, right? But having eyebrows that are a little bit thicker, that kind of frames our face, is like, it's the look that we want to go for, right? We want to enhance look. So with credit, eyebrows is kind of like your profile. When your profile is too thin, it's really difficult for you to get qualified. You don't look good on paper, right? They don't really know how you balance out your accounts. Having a good amount of revolving credit, which is credit cards, and installment loans, which are like personal loans or car loans, having a mixture of those really will help you have a great look, right? Just like your eyebrows. Your eyebrows sometimes can make or break your face, just like your eyebrows and credit can really make or break how you look on paper. So a thin credit profile, like thin eyebrows, like a thin credit profile is having like 3 accounts or less. You want to make sure that you are having like more accounts on your credit so that it looks like you're a person that knows how to balance your money. Having a thick profile is something like, it's like about having about 4 to 6 credit cards, maybe 1 installment loan, which could be a car loan. And if you have student loans, you already have an installment account already because you got student loans. But you want to focus on enhancing your face and framing your face, right? With your eyebrows. And you want to do the same thing with credit. So framing your face with credit is making sure that you move further away from having a thin profile and start to have more activity with your credit. I'll teach you more on that in another video. So the next step is eyelashes. Eyelashes, listen, ladies, you know how we feel about our eyelashes, right? Some people are blessed, like they have natural eyelashes. All they need to do is add a little mascara and they're good to go. And some of us, we want to have a little bit more enhancement, right? But eyelashes, like you can have really great makeup. Your makeup can look good, but if you don't have your lashes, it kind of like takes away from the look. So eyelashes and credit is like your accounts, right? So some people that have natural eyelashes and they just add a little mascara, one of the things that I teach is like if you have natural eyelashes, like in credit, all you want to do, which is basically like your accounts, what you want to do is make sure that you are nurturing your already existing credit card companies, right? You don't need to apply for more credit. You don't need more accounts. You just need to make sure that the credit cards that you have open right now, that you're paying on time, you're keeping the utilization down, like you're building up a positive relationship. So that's kind of like having natural lashes. It's kind of like saying, hey, I already have the thing. I'm just going to keep nurturing it. I'm going to take care of what I have. But people that don't have it, that we have to add lashes to it, it's basically like someone that doesn't really have enough accounts. And so adding like eyelash extensions is like piggybacking on someone else's credit, right? It's like being an authorized user. So if you don't have the natural enhanced look, the way that you can enhance your credit profile, the way you can really look pretty on paper when it comes to eyelashes, is adding yourself as an authorized user to someone that already has good credit. But let me just tell you this, just like with makeup, you don't want to have a pretty face and then your eyelashes are not done. So you want to make sure that this part is on there, that you're constantly focusing on making sure that you're nurturing the relationships that you have already with your accounts, your credit cards. And if you don't have any, you want to make sure that you add yourself as an authorized user. And I could talk to you more about what are the qualifications for an authorized user, like what kind of person's credit card do you want to add on to, because you don't want to just get any lashes, right? You don't just want to get anyone's credit card. So we could talk about that in a different video. So the next step with being pretty on paper is contouring, right? You guys know contouring is like that thing that it feels like every step kind of makes or breaks your face, But contouring is like that thing, right? Having the right shape for your cheeks, the right shape for your nose is so important when it comes to makeup. And contouring, you guys, in credit is really understanding all the 5 steps that incorporates your credit. There's 5 factors, right, that affect your credit, you guys. And if you don't utilize and know those 5 steps, it can mess up your whole credit profile. So the 5 factors, I can really talk about that in another video. But contouring with makeup, you guys know, is highly important. It shapes your face. It really gives you like the frame, just like the eyebrows. It frames your face. It really makes the definition of what your face will look like at the end of finishing all your makeup. And it's the same thing with credit. Those 5 factors really play a big part in how you look in the totality of your credit, right? So we have 5 factors in credit. It's so important to know those, because as you're building your credit and as you're getting pretty on paper, focusing on those 5 factors will determine how you look in your credit score. So the very last step is blush. You guys know, little blush, a little highlight really makes our face look really good, right? So blush kind of brings life to us. It makes your face look innocent. It makes you look like you're alive, right? One of the ways to do that with credit, or how do you blush your credit, right, is making sure that you pay your bills on time. But not just pay your bills on time. In the book, I give you a strategy on how to really look really innocent and really good on paper, right? So there's 3 things that I always tell people to know with every credit account that you have. You want to make sure you know your due date. You want to make sure you know your statement due date, and you want to make sure you know your credit utilization or your credit limit, right? You always want to stay under 30% of your actual credit limit, because that makes you look really good on paper. The other thing is you want to make sure instead of paying your credit on the due date, you actually pay it on the statement due date. And what that does is it basically hides the money that you've been spending, right? So say, for example, you max out your card. You max it out, it's $1,000. Say you have a credit limit that's $1,000. Say your statement due date is on the 15th, but your due date is on the 30th. If you pay that whole amount by the 15th, by the 30th, it's going to report a 0 balance. So making sure that you know when your due date is important, but also making payments on your statement due date can actually make your profile look really good. It makes it look alive. It makes it look like you did absolutely nothing. And so blush is that very same thing. Like I said, it makes you look innocent. It brings you to life. It makes you just look like you're doing all these things. But blush really brings you to life. And so the way to keep your credit profile alive and make you look innocent and sweet is to pay it on the statement due date rather than the due date. So that is it, you guys. I wanted to break down the credit principles and correlate it with makeup. I want to teach you not only how to be pretty in person, but how to get pretty on paper. I am the profitable Proverbs 31 woman, and this is another video. If you like this video and you want more of my credit tips while we're talking about makeup, make sure you like and subscribe this video, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.